Okay, so before I get into this, I want to give you a little context for what you're about to watch. I wrote a memoir. It's called Life on the Installment Plan and is not published yet. I'm actively searching for an agent. It's about how I basically spent my life in jail as a person that was addicted to heroin before addiction was considered a disease, essentially doing life on the installment plan. It's not published yet. I've been called to traditionally publish and I'm searching for an agent, but I wanted to share this with you because that's why I help people, and I know other people have been through similar things, and I'm hoping this might connect to somebody out there, maybe help somebody out there. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to read you an unpublished chapter from my unfinished journey. I lost a lot of people I cared about in the war on drugs. I stopped counting at 53. It affects me. I think of them every single day. All the girls I grew up with in jail, just all of them gone. Even now, I just wait for phone calls to know who's next. There aren't many of us left. But my thinking is I'm one of the last guys standing for a reason. Nobody thought I would live this long, and nobody definitely thought I would acquire 10 years sober. Buy my own home, start my own business. I like to say that I jump timelines because it's unbelievable almost. But this is why I can't make videos with me in them. That's why I have a cartoon avatar, because my kids are always, I'm surprised they're not jumping all over me right now. But anyway, so I've got to make it count. I've got to make this count for something. I've got to make my blog count for something. I have to, if I can just help people, I'll be fine, because that's what my recovery is based on. It's based on altruism, basically. Anyway, the chapter I'm reading is called Mikey. He was one of my best friends. The names are changed in my memoir for obvious reasons. They were both, Jenny was my best friend, first girlfriend. She was significantly older than me. And Mikey was my best friend. And he's one of those people that everyone just liked. He'd just walk in the room and the whole energy would shift. And it was just, life was so much better with him there. I'm reading this chapter specifically because it's the chapter that I think explains a lot about loss. And not just about my addiction, but about shame. I've never, aside from with Jenny and one other person, I have never shared this story until I put it in my memoir. I've definitely never said it out loud. So as much as it might help other people, it's also very therapeutic for me, I think, for dealing with the shame. So we stay stuck. If we can't eliminate the shame, we stay stuck and it never leaves us. And that's most of the time why we continue our drug use, because we cannot face shame. Who wants to face shame? Come on. Shame's a bitch, man. So anyway, here it is. Thank you so much. And please help me out. Visit my blog, samanthawashika.com, and follow me on socials. Show some support for you, girl. Thank you. All right. Take care. I hate self-promo. It feels so cheap and cheesy to me, which is probably why things have been so hard for me. But all right, let's get to it. Thank you. We drove in near silence, crossing over into Jersey like we were crossing into another dimension. The motel we found was seedy as usual, just another pit stop for the lost and wandering. Stained carpets, flickering lights, a television bolted to the dresser, playing static, but it didn't matter. All that mattered was the dope. Jenny had always taken on the role of caretaker, some twisted blend of Florence Nightingale and a street nurse. She was steady with the needle, efficient, calm. She liked to control the control it gave her, the quiet power of knowing exactly what to do. I sat on the edge of the bed, already slipping into that familiar place between dread and anticipation. She tied my arm off, found a vein, and pushed the plunger. Warmth spread through my body like liquid gold, numbing everything that hurt. It was blissful, fleeting, false, but it was ours. Then it was Mikey's turn. He sat on the floor, his back against the wall, laughing at something stupid one of us had said. Jenny prepared his shot like she always did. He trusted her. We both did to an extent. I can still see it. 1 minute Mikey was laughing. The next, he was slumped forward, head bowed, arms limp, the life draining from him faster than I could understand what was happening. At first, I thought he was just nodding out. It happened all the time. But then his lips turned gray and his chest didn't move. Mikey, I called his name, my voice trembling. I moved toward him, slapped his face. It's what we did. No resistance, no murmur, nothing. Panic took over. Jenny froze. For a second, we were statues in a horror show. Then she snapped out of it. Try to wake him up. I'm going to go get some milk, she yelled, running out of the door. It sounds absurd now, but back then there was this ridiculous belief that milk could reverse an overdose. A street myth passed from one desperate soul to another. We clung to those lies because we had nothing else. I dropped to my knees beside Mikey, slapping his face, shouting his name, shaking his shoulders, still nothing. I couldn't find a pulse. I couldn't feel his breath. My hands were trembling so bad I could barely form a fist. I started CPR, desperate, uneven compressions, tears streaming down my face. I begged him not to leave me. Come on, Mikey, please come back. Please. You don't want to do this, you prick. Don't leave me. Just come back. Please come back. I slowed, but didn't quit. I couldn't. Never. No way. Please, Mikey. Please, you can't do this, man. Think about your nieces, your sister, your mom. I could feel his chest giving in a way that did not feel alive to me, but I never let up. All of our times were going through my head in a word montage. Mikey putting flowers in my hair at the hippie park. Mikey helping me sneak into Prima's show at Horde Festival when everyone else left me behind. Mikey waiting for me to catch up on our way to Further Festival. Mikey and I driving, doing our loser loop, singing our favorite Tool and A Perfect Circle songs, and all of our other thrash metal bands that none of our friends liked. Headbanging and just rocking out. Mikey forcing me to eat his hot dog roll when I refused to because I was vegan at that time, starving, and his hot dog had touched the bun. The first time Mikey showed up at my house when Clara broke his heart, and he cried on my shoulder. Mikey's smile after he kissed me when we went to see Section 8 at Valentine's in Albany. My heart hurt so much. Just when I thought I couldn't bear another second, Jenny returned, and she wasn't alone. She had gone to the front desk, and by some twist of fate, the night clerk happened to be an EMT, a real one, a woman with cropped hair and sharp eyes who didn't ask questions. She stormed into the room and took one look around. Her eyes landed on the dope, the syringes, the spoons, and then Mikey. She shoved me out of the way like I weighed nothing, checked his vitals. Her face told me everything before her words did. She stood up, rage flashed in her eyes. She grabbed the phone and dialed 911. We have an overdose, male, early 20s, unresponsive, no pulse. Then she looked straight at me. You're just fucking kids, she snapped. You need to get the hell out of here. If this goes south, they will arrest you and put your ass in Rikers. Do you understand? My heart sank. I tried to argue, but she definitely wasn't having it. She told us to leave before she decided not to let us go. We didn't allow ourselves to think on it. We just moved. Jenny was already packing up the works, Mikey's backpack, our bags, the remaining dope. We wiped down services with shaking hands, trying to erase the evidence while trying not to be obvious, trying to erase the night. I was staring at Mikey hopefully the entire time. When we were done, I stopped at the door and I looked back at Mikey and said a silent prayer for my lost friend, thinking of his mother. He was such a mama's boy. I gave him one last look as my heart shattered into a million pieces, and then we ran. I don't remember running to the car. I don't remember the drive. I only remember my sobs and silence in between, heavy, suffocating silence, and the weight of what we had just done or failed to do weighing on me, like a dozen cement blocks attached to my ankle. By the time we hit the Ardsley rest stop, I really broke. I curled up in the back seat, knees to chest, sobbing so violently it felt like my ribs were cracking. Jenny didn't say a word. She just lit a cigarette and stared out the windshield like she was somewhere else entirely. Mikey was dead, and no one knew, except us. Let's get high, you'll feel better, Jenny said as she flicked her cig, rolled up the window, and removed her keys from the ignition. I'm going to do this in two parts of time for time reasons. But I'm going to do the second part right now. So, okay. All right. I got to hurry up before my kids get inside. All right. See you in a minute. Okay, this part two, reading a chapter from my memoir, Life on the Installment Plan, about how I survived 20 years going in and out of jail for nonviolent drug-related offenses as a heroin addict. Now I'm 10 years sober. And I started a blog 2 years ago. I try to help people. Been quite the journey, but I'm going to continue on now. Made me swear I'd never tell a soul. Swear I'd take it to the grave. She spent the entire 4.5-hour ride home saying the same stuff over and over. She told me that we would both spend the rest of our lives in prison. I believed her, and I was terrified of her. Not in a physical way. I probably could have taken her in a physical altercation, but I knew just the tip of the level of evil Jenny was capable of, and it scared me shitless. She had this darkness about her that could swallow you whole, and I was already half gone. Weeks later, Mikey's mom came to me, tears in her eyes, desperation in her voice, begging me to tell her something, anything. I looked away, my insides twisted, and I felt the pain stabbing me like sharp knives. The pain was palpable. As an empath, even a doped-up, strung-out empath, this was a curse to me in every way on my journey. I felt her fear. It ran my blood cold and caused red flashes when I blinked. I said nothing. I couldn't spend my life in jail. Little did I know I would anyway. Her cries haunt me to this day, leaving me with the debilitating shame and guilt. I feel it still, and feeling it sober makes this particular day look like the emotional equivalent of stepping on a Lego. I had to do something, so I left Mikey's backpack in her garage, never thinking for a second that it could have given her hope. I didn't want to do that. That was the one thing she couldn't have. Hope would make the end hurt so much more. Sometimes I don't think things through. ADHD makes me very spontaneous and unpredictable, with an inability to think things through to consequences. I tried to disappear, so I just hid out wherever I could, and Jenny made sure to keep that needle in my arm to keep me silent. That silence, it became a noose around my neck. It followed me everywhere. Every hit, every nod, every withdrawal, it was Mikey's ghost sitting quietly in the corner, reminding me of what I did, what I didn't do. I hated myself. I used more. I slept less. The shame grew like mold in the corners of my mind. Memories of me and my boy flashing in my mind the second I opened my eyes in the morning, coming with more pain than I had ever known, and not saying something. It took another funeral for me to find a crack in the wall Jenny had built around me. Another friend, another overdose. Jenny wouldn't go. She said funerals made her sick. I used that chance to slip away, to disappear into the crowd, to get her words out of my ear, constantly telling me what I needed to do and who I needed to be. That's when I saw her, Mikey's mom. She saw me too, and she knew. She didn't scream. She didn't hit me. She walked straight up to me and took my hand. She pulled me by my hand out the back door and into the cold. Is my son alive? She whispered. That's all it took. I couldn't lie anymore. I shook my head. It was heroin, Fort Lee, a motel just over the George Washington Bridge. I couldn't meet her eyes filled with tears. Where's my son now? I think he's in John Doe, I said, choking on the words, but I'll help you. I'll help you find him. I trailed off. She was rushing to her car, dialing her phone, tears streaming down her face. 3 days later, I almost smashed into her at the state building as I rounded a corner. A shame. I apologized profusely, too high to realize I was too high. To my shock, she didn't push me away. She pulled me in. She hugged me like a mother hugs a child, the way my mother never hugged me, but always wished she had. She held me like she knew I was broken long before that night, like she forgave me the moment I told her the truth. Let's not make this for nothing, she whispered in my ear. I know it was Jenny, she said, and I know she dragged you into that life, and I also know how much Mikey loved you, and I know how much you loved him. Then she looked me dead in my eyes. When you're ready to get clean, I'll help you in any way I can, Sam. I told her I didn't deserve it. She hugged me tighter and we wept together in the state building, tears streaming makeup down our faces. There was no Narcan then, no one handing out kits, no one teaching CPR or first aid to kids like us, no helplines, no judgment-free zones, just inaccurate information spreading like milk reversing the effects of an overdose. It's not true. It makes things worse. We were left with fear and shame and the silent rule that if someone dies, you run, because if you don't, you will be the one to pay. I've lived with the guilt ever since. It crawled into my bones and settled there. It followed me through every overdose I watched, every friend I lost, and there were so many. Every time I looked in the mirror, saw a girl who didn't save someone she loved dearly. Little did I know that Mikey wouldn't be the only one. Mikey's ghost never left me, and it never will. So if you're someone that's out there struggling, you need support, you need free community. I built my blog, Progressing Not Perfecting, for just that reason, trying to help other people and prevent them from going through what I went through. A lot has changed since this happened. We have Narcan. Addiction has finally become determined to be a disease. But I often say there is life's worst experiences, and add into that prison and months at a time in the hole after being taken off all your mental health meds and your maintenance, and this is my life. And my heart aches for those young girls and boys that are still out there suffering, wronged by the system, whatever it is. And I created a space where I make myself available to people, not just people that can afford coaching, but people that can't afford coaching because they need it the most. It hasn't been easy. It's actually been really hard. Probably one of the hardest things I've ever done. But I've taught myself as I've gone, and I thought I would have support from the recovery community, and not so much. It's really hard. You got to fight to get on that first page of Google with Google. Anyway, so you can visit my website at SamanthaBashika.com. There's a link in my bio. I am pro, not per, on all socials, and I'm here. Just get a hold of me. Use my contact form. You can email me at support@SamanthaBashika.com. Whatever it is. If there's anything I can do for you, I will do it. I can be an ear. I'm not going to lend you money. Obviously, just ethically and professionally, we'll help you. I will be there. I will support you. I offer free resources on my website, tons of freebies, digital products, whatever. I'm me. Okay. Hope you enjoyed the chapters. Hoping to get that published as soon as I can find an agent. You can imagine how that goes. All right. Until next time, my lovelies. Take care.